Artwalk Tour. This month we're Hispanic Heritage Month, and our guests are going to be the owners of Gallery Azul, Ray Vasquez and Cora Ramirez Vasquez. Actually, Dr. Cora Ramirez Vasquez. Next slide. I just wanted to make a couple of announcements, and I'm sure you all know that next Thursday is the September 2nd, Thursday, our live art walk. We will be conducted a guided art walk tour, which is free, and you can go to our website to register. And we will be meeting at the Artistry, which is co-owned by Alan Padilla and Reno Gonzalez, and they're both amazing painters. It's in the space where Off the Vine used to be. So we're going to meet there, and then we're going to head over towards Gallery Azul and to see their show that Ray and Cora are going to be talking about tonight. And along the way, we may go to some other places like the National Watercolor Society. We hope that you join the tour, and we would love to see you live and in person. Just want to remind everybody that we all need to wear our masks even when we're outside on First Thursday. So this is a chance to show your flair and take your picture in your best mask. So we look forward to seeing you. Next slide. I also wanted to let you know that we've been kind of busy, and we had two artists paint two different storm drains at 6th and Harbor on the San Pedro side near the piazza. And this one was painted by an artist that's done several of our DOT boxes. You know, DOT boxes are those boxes that control the traffic signals. And this has been painted by Adrienne Wade, and she called this Sun and Sea. And so the whole sidewalk is painted this way. We'll see how long this lasts. We were able to do this because we got a grant from the Port of Los Angeles. Next slide. And this one is directly across the street, and it was painted by Chidem Akbe, who also came and helped us with paint the Sirens mural. And so I just love this color of blue. It's really gorgeous. So we have funding to paint a few more storm drains, so just want you to be on the lookout for intersections to see if any paint shows up. Next slide. Oh, sorry, not that one. So I want to introduce Ray and Cora. Ray and Cora served on the board, and Ray and Cora is still on the board. Cora was our board chair for several years, and we're really grateful that they're here and living in San Pedro, and they bring such amazing things to the table. They have a daughter named Harmony, and I just bought a piece of her work because that's the show that's up now, right? And it's amazing how two artists can raise another amazing artist. And so how did you guys meet?
Okay, well, we actually met in college in a painting class, an art painting class, actually, to be exact. So
I was there at Cal Dominguez getting my teaching credential at the time, and that's how I just met Cora. Yeah, we just painted for almost a year before we started hanging out.
And how long have you been together?
Oh man, how old is it, Harmony? 19?
24 years?
Yeah, 24 years. Yeah. Yeah, that's been a while.
I'm going to start with Cora. How did you realize that you were an artist? And the second part of this question, I'm going to ask both of you, was your family, your parents encouraging you to be an artist?
I remember always enjoying to draw. That was one of the things I always enjoyed doing even as a little kid. My favorite gift was always a little drawing pad and crayons or color pencils. That was the one thing I always asked my parents to buy me. And I remember just following around my dog, drawing like the stuff around me, you know. So I decided to go to college. That's what I wanted to do. I'm like, I want to be an artist. But I didn't have, like proper guidance. My parents were not college graduates. They barely finished grade school. They both immigrated from Mexico. So I'm second generation already here. So they were just like, well, are you sure you want to be an artist? How are you going to make money? Because, they didn't know. So and once again, I didn't have the proper mentor. So I went through a little ordeal trying to figure it out, and then was able to find that I could do, 2 degrees, psychology and art, So once again, it was kind of a little sideways that I figured that out. And in my journey,
I'm sorry, are you the first person amongst your siblings or in your family that went to college?
I'm the only one. Yeah, I'm the oldest and the only one that went to college. I have the highest, the highest education in my family with my doctorate degree. So yeah, and the doctorate degree came this has been the latest thing, but yeah, I decided to pursue the master's in art therapy, to combine my 2 loves of psychology and art. So that's where I was able to find that at Loyola Marymount University. And then recently I decided to just get my doctorate in clinical psychology just to be better at clinical skills, with my patients.
And your office is right where Galleria Azul is, right?
Yes. So if you go into the 741 building, which is a really cool Art Deco building, or just owned by George and Patty Krakovic, some landlords, by the way, and good friends. If you go in, you'll see the gallery, and then if you go in more, then I have my office tucked away in the corner. So it's really cool. So my patients come in, they get to wait in the gallery space and be entertained by the art, and then I see them in my office.
And when I met you, you were living in that building. There's an apartment in the mezzanine level, and I think Harmony was maybe 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah, she was about 5, 6. Yeah.
So that's where we started the gallery.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So, did you always know that you wanted to be an artist? And did your family encourage you?
I grew up with 2 creative parents. My dad was a handyman, and he built our house. Around the house, he fixed. So I was always, right behind him with the hammer and, saw, and just helping him out and watching him fix everything. And my mom was really good as a seamstress. She would always, we would pick any, clothes, even clothes didn't fit us. We would buy them from the secondhand store or whatever, and she would just tailor them to us because she was just really good with the sewing machine. So, I always had some really nice tailored clothes because she just knew how to work the sewing machine. So both my parents were always creative. In high school, I drew too. That was one thing that kind of saved me. Even in English class, I could write, but I would always add these artistic drawings to my reports and get a high grade because my English teacher was like, wow, you're such a good artist and drawer. And I went to UC Davis. I was an engineering major when I got there because there was a big push in the 80s for, math and science back then. And, but I just found my love in design and art, and I ended up graduating with an art in design. And when I came back home, I started substituting. And, I just really enjoyed working with students, and I end up landing a job as an art teacher. And 18 years later, just found myself just teaching art to students. And I really enjoyed teaching the elements of art and design to students. So I've been with Al Unify now for 26 years.
Isn't it amazing when we can say something that seems such a long time?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what you're doing now with your school, with Narbonne?
So about 8 years ago, Narbonne High School, it's a big comprehensive high school, but now there's 3 different high schools on one site. And we're a pilot school. We're forming an arts high school on the Narbonne campus. And I'm really excited because this year I'm the new principal. I'm the principal of an art school. So I get to run an art school. Yeah, my passion in the arts. So very fun. So I'm very excited for this year.
Yeah, we are too.
Thank you.
It's really been interesting as a bystander to watch the trajectory. I remember when Cora was going for a doctorate and how crazy making that was, and we thought, okay, that's done with the crazy making, and then COVID hit, and it got even stranger.
Right.
So can you so you have a little slideshow, and you're going to talk about Galleria Azul?
Yes. So we've been around for a while, so it was fun to go through our archive of images and all the shows and reflect and remember. So I didn't make it too long because I don't want to bore people. But yeah, there was but I tried to make it succinct and to the point, and then it will segue to what we're doing today or what we have coming up in September, actually.
So why don't we go through the history and then you can talk about what's coming up.
Alrighty. So let me get my. There it is. Oh. Huh?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to my. Oh.
Most people don't know, but when we first started doing it was our tech.
Sorry, trying to get my.
There you go.
Okay, let me go to the beginning of this. Actually, where do we go to the beginning? Sorry, I'm trying to get to the beginning of my.
Close it. Exit.
Can we stop share again? Let me just get to the beginning of my PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. Because I was doing a preview, so. Okay, now here we go. All right, and let me go to the screen.
Just to let you know, Linda, while Cora gets us all squared away, when we were first, out of Cal State Dominguez and we met going out, we were going to art walks in Long Beach and LA, San Diego, wherever we would travel, we go to all these different art walks. And we really fell in love with San Pedro. We really liked what was happening downtown. We were always coming here to hang out and have coffee and just, walk downtown, the arts district. So when we decided to move to San Pedro, that was just one of the things that we wanted to do. It was like, what could we do together? Cora didn't want to do a bowling league or play softball or, but yeah, our gallery was perfect for us. And once it started in 2006, we're still doing it. We've been doing First Thursdays ever since.
Yeah. So here we are. So we opened, so like Ray says, we opened in November. So our first show, our inaugural show was November 2nd, 2006. And then once again, we decided our vision as an art gallery was to stimulate and inform and educate the community. So really just that's why we like having group shows, because we always try to have a theme that's going to teach something to the community. And offer artists a voice as well. So just a platform so that artists would have a voice. And then also just to, promote culture, current events and historic events that affect us all in some way or other. Even with a lot of political turmoil and stuff like that, it's been a great platform for that. So let me go to the next one. So of course, it's Hispanic Heritage. So we are Brown owned. That's how we identify ourselves as Mexicans. And we've been in business for 15 years. And we've had multiple shows and all themed, and we've had also solo artist exhibitions. And we always make it a point to be culturally diverse. And for us, culture means everybody. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance to exhibit their artwork. So I put together some of our group shows, some our most popular ones, but once again, it doesn't encompass everything we've done. So, and yeah.
Forgive me for a second, I forgot to ask you, are your parents, all four of them, are they from Mexico or are they from another Latin American country?
My parents, my mother and father they're both from Mexico. They are now citizens, of course, of the US, but they migrated here when they were teenagers. And then they met here as adults.
And Ray's parents?
And my great-great-grandparents came from Mexico, San Luis Potosí. And so I'm third generation here.
Thank you.
All right. So our, as I said previously, our inaugural show was in celebration of El Día de los Muertos. And since then, we've had actually 14 shows. So even looking back, I was thinking, wow, we've had 14 Día de los Muertos, minus 2020 due to the pandemic. Which would have been 15, actually, if we would have had a show. This is some of the artwork that we've had, some of the muñecos and masks. More art. This is actually some erased artwork.
And such a popular show just all over the United States. 15 years ago, it wasn't really known, and some people didn't understand it. They were kind of, it was new to them, and they were kind of getting confused. Is that Halloween, or what is Day of the Dead? And but now it's caught on, and now it's just kind of universal and kind of year round too. You see people wearing skulls, skeletons, sugar skulls year round. It's not just one day anymore out of the year. It seems like people are wearing. You'll see skulls all over the place year round.
Yeah, and thanks to the movie Coco, I think it really informed the community about what Dia de los Muertos is. So, it's been nice that that's happened. So Coco is very accurate as far as its depiction of Dia de los Muertos. So here's some more pieces there for Dia de los Muertos. And then Ray and I trying to pose for a picture. Another Dia de los Muertos show. And then some of our, we make little ofrendas, altars for the dead when they visit, and then just some of the artwork and some of the excitement in our show. So we've also had for Women's Heritage Month, we've always made it a point to have some type of woman show. And some of the shows that we had for Women's Heritage was A Woman Who Dared, A Woman and the Apple, Femme Fatale, Wild Feminine, La Sirena, Revolutionary Women. So those are just a few. We've got more, but that's been a lot. So here we have some of the imagery from our shows. Some are revolutionary, different styles, different artists.
I love that piece, the one on the left in the previous slide.
Oh, let me go back. Let's go back to this one. Yes. Oh, that
reminds me of
David Flores.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I didn't hear the.
I said it reminds me a little of a Diego Rivera piece where they're holding calla lilies.
Yeah, it has a cool. Yeah, David Flores is also a Mexican American artist. And, he's definitely very influenced by Frida and Diego Rivera, so he's definitely inspired by them.
The Mexican masters.
Yeah, he does a lot of bright colors that are very in tune with Mexican culture. If you travel to Mexico, you see all the bright color houses, furniture, so his work is very, you can feel the Mexico in it. So this was our Femme Fatale show. That was a really fun show too. This was when we actually took a break from renting a gallery space, because we rented the space on Pacific for a while, but for about a year, I think, but then we decided to take a break. But we still had ideas, so we were able to use Flash Alley Studio to have this show. And they're no longer here in San Pedro, but they had a cool little underground gallery. And then we even had fire dancers there, so that was really fun. So 2 years ago, our daughter Harmony, she had an idea for a show for October. So she thought, why don't we have a show dedicated to Edgar Allan Poe? So we were trying to think of something for Halloween, and then she had this idea. And then so we actually we did a call out, and we had a lot of submissions. We discovered that there is a big following for Edgar Allan Poe, and art and just anything Edgar Allan Poe. So we've had 2 shows. We didn't have one in 2020, which would have been our third one, unfortunately. So here's a few more pieces, and we even had Edgar Allan Poe come out from the dead to talk about and share his thoughts about art about him, inspired by him. So he was an actor, the ones that do
the impersonator.
Yeah, that they're I forget the term. I'm not very informed with acting, but I know he's one of those the actor that they become the character. So this man was in character just the moment he arrived. Yeah. So it was really fun. You'd ask him anything Poe, and he would know it. So we had a Lucha Libre show. So this is called Lucha Urbana. And Lucha Libre is Mexican wrestling, pretty much. So very popular in Mexico and big. Those are big. So luchadores are seen as celebrities over there in Mexico. Anything?
Just to add, like a lot of these shows that we're showing you are, of course, collaborative. You know, we call them call outs, and we reach out to just artists. Some are locally in the community, some come as far as south of San Diego, San Francisco. And a lot of the artwork that you're seeing showing, some of these artists have a body of work, and we have solo shows with them. And so probably half of the shows are solo artists. And the other half of the year, we like to do these group shows because this is how we meet a lot of artists. So you can see how different these shows are. Like we have the Women's Show, Heritage Month, and we have Lucha Libre, or the Mexican artists, the wrestlers, to Edgar Allen Poe, and they're so diverse. But this is how we get different artists to come through our doors, and we get to meet just a whole array of different artists. And, that's one of our favorite parts, is just meeting new artists come through the doors and work with them. And then all of a sudden we have a solo show with them. So that's part of the exciting part about having the gallery, the way we run it.
Yeah. And in group shows, do draw crowds and new people. And therefore that helps us as far as the publicity of the gallery as well. So here's some more really cool Lucha Libre art. And then La Sirena, this one was really popular too. So this is just a few pieces. And we actually had Sirena, a mermaid, there. Apparently there's professional mermaids, once again, something new we discovered. So that was fun. People really were excited to take pictures with her. That's pretty much all she could do. So that was cool. So not much else. So here we had a great show dedicated to teachers. Teacher is artist, artist is teacher. So once again, there's so many, we talk about artists who are teachers, and
right.
So we decided to do that call out. And
so many of our friends who we met through the gallery happen to be, art teachers, and there are some artists or art teachers that aren't active, or they teach the form, whether it's photography or ceramics, but there's a lot of teachers in the classroom that are very active, and they're out painting DOT boxes or doing murals around Long Beach and San Pedro. And so I just try to collect them all together. We had this one show, and it was just very fun to see all these different teachers come out and show their artwork, that they're still being active in the community.
So San Pedro had its first Pride Festival in June of 2019. So we decided to also do a Latinx LGBTQ group art exhibition to highlight the art of this community and how creative they are. So that was a really great show too. So unfortunately, they weren't able to have a Pride Festival because of the pandemic in 2020. So we're excited for when that returns in San Pedro. And then we had Black Heritage in 2020. That was our last show before the pandemic happened. So this is, for the couple of pieces that were there for the show. And it was a great show. Once again, just the Black artists, Black community art, just meeting all these amazing creative people. And we were so excited to plan for future shows with them. And then the pandemic hit. And that was paused.
This image, this picture of the two girls in the swimming pool, is that a painting or a photograph?
That was actually a painting.
Right.
It was pretty a photograph. Yeah, I remember now. I asked the same thing to them. I'm like, is this a photograph or a painting? She's like, no, it's a painting. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Who was the artist? Do you remember?
I don't remember her name. Yeah, I didn't. I don't remember her name. But she's a local San Pedro artist. I remember. Yeah. So, and then, so we were closed, for pretty much March.
15 months, right?
Yeah, until August 5th of 2020 when we reopened. And our first show to open, we opened with our daughter Harmony Azul Vasquez. So we figured, what better way than to have her start us off. And this is some of the stuff she had been working on during the pandemic. and her first year of school was she was doing her first year of CSUN from home. So she was just coping by being creative and being in school.
Sorry to interrupt. The piece on the left, I bought that piece because it's such a strong energy. I was going to say warrior, but like defender, that I really love it. It reminds me of Game of Thrones a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about that piece?
Right. So, Harmony is really into not just anime, but, a lot of gaming now. These kids are, a lot of their, not just social media, but the way they socialize, remotely is through games and gaming. So these are some characters that, she draws from some of the games, and she just recreates them in her own light. So I can't remember if the one on the left that you bought was an actual character, but definitely influenced by one of her main characters that she plays with friends.
Off the top of your head, do you remember her Instagram handle? It's I'm Sleepy?
Yeah.
I'm Sleepy.
I'm Sleepy. Yeah, just all together. I am and Sleepy. So yeah.
Because during the throes of the pandemic, she was showing a lot of this work, and in a way that was like exhibited body positivity, because they were all different sized people and women, and it was just interesting to see someone that I've known since she was really young, and what she's up to and how she's expressing herself and where her head is at the moment. And I find that really fascinating. And her work is amazing.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Linda. That's true. You're an outsider, because we're her parents, so we're like, we're biased. So it's nice to have someone from the outside giving us a perspective. But yeah, all the pieces that we're showing were sold. Nice. So, all right, so we'll move on to the next slide. So then she starts us off, she started off the year for us, and then our show after her leads us to La Lotteria de la Representación. So that's going to be, and the show dates for that, of course, first Thursday, September 2nd, 6 to 9, and then Saturday, September 25th, 5 to 9 p.m. And so here we have, so I decided to give a little history of La Lotteria. So what is La Lotteria? It's the Mexican bingo. So instead of calling out letters and numbers, the announcer calls out the image of the card that is chosen. And many times I'll have a little poem to go along with that image, just to make it. Game boards, of course, we mark them with beans or pennies, and then once the board is filled, then, the winner is like, Lotteria, I got it, I won. So, then you get all the, if you play for cash. So, which is kind of like bingo.
Very similar to bingo, just a little bit more colorful, and images are interesting.
Makes it a little funner. So here's some of the cards that, just an example of El Pescado and El Sol. So that's what would be, El Pescado and El Sol, and they'll have a little poem to go with it, if the, person wants to do that. So the history, so I decided to do some reading up on the history of Lotteria, because I played it since I was a kid, all the time for Christmas or for gatherings with family, and I never knew the history. So the Lotteria originated in Italy, and it was introduced in Spain, and then 1769 it was introduced to Mexico. So, and it, began as a game for the Mexican elite, and eventually it was embraced by all social classes. So, so it's interesting. I was considered elite, and it just evolved from that. And then so during the 19th and 20th centuries, fairs would travel between Mexican farms and towns, and then people would gather to play. So really cool way to get people to get together. And then imagine the rural areas having this almost like a fair show up, and Lotteria, and you're playing that. So a fun little history on that. So who created this Lotteria, right? So in 1887, a French businessman by the name of Don Clemente Jacques introduced the most recognized version of La Lotteria, which is what typically we all play. So it's called the Don Clemente Gallo rendition. And so what he did is he purchased a manufacturing plant in Mexico, and which produced a lot of items, and packaged stuff. And he also would make the La Lotteria. So these are some of the samples of previous Lotteria styles. And so apparently this company, according to the company, they would make rations for the military at that time, and they would include the Lotteria game for soldiers to play. And so apparently these soldiers, of course, brought it home and then introduced it to their home, and and then from there it became part of it helped contribute to the Mexican culture. So here you have some of the first tablas, Lotteria cards, and that consisted, once again, always of imagery. And these are mostly just imagery. They were made of tin or paper, and they were painted by a popular artist. And apparently some artists, this is what they did. They specialized in this art. So here you have a little evolution of the Lotteria cards, and then of course the one that we all play with right now. So. Yeah. So then,
and that's the one on the right.
Right.
So to the right. So the most updated one, yeah. That's the one that we typically use in the more traditional homes, yeah. So here we have, so the idea of re-envisioning La Lotteria has been a thing that's always happened. Artists have always been inspired by the images of the Lotteria since its inception, so it's been always a thing. So that's why it's not too far-fetched to have art shows about La Lotteria, so that being inspired to, create a theme about this or that with Lotteria cards. So here you have to the, I guess left, right, is the Millennial Lotteria. And if you look at the Millennial Lotteria, you have La Student Debt. That's millennial stuff right there.
Instead of El Mundo.
Yeah, and instead of El Mundo, right? El global warming, definitely millennial stuff, right?
Instead of Sol.
Instead of El Sol, yeah. Instead of La Bandera, you have El Pride. And then instead of La Escalera, you have La Border Wall, so instead of La Dama is La Feminist. So yeah, so those kind of, so they've updated that more millennial. You have the middle one, which is a DC kind of inspired, comic Lotteria version. So here you have, the Joker is the Diablito, so they made the devil into the Joker. You have Poison Ivy is La Sirena, so Batman is El Valiente, the brave guy. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting to see how they changed the actual, they kept the names but changed the character. And then to the right over here is La Loteria Quédate en Casa. So this has been inspired through COVID, so you have, of course, El COVID-19 with La Corona. So the crown, La Corona, and El COVID-19, so you have El Jaboncito, the soap, for cleanliness. La Manos, the hand is holding a soap. So El Pánico, El Pánico is a toilet paper, so definitely inspired, once again, because of this whole pandemic, it's inspired a new version of Lotteria. So here you have Selena.
And if you haven't bought Lotteria cards, any deck, but almost in any grocery store now, no matter where you go, you can pick one up in one of the aisles, whether it's an end cap or by the toys, but just pick one up so that you can read the back, the little sayings on the back, and they're very fun, and then a lot of these images make more sense because people are trying to recreate the original deck.
Yeah.
It's worth picking up a deck.
And you both played this game as kids with your family?
I don't know.
You know what? Not when I was younger, growing up. It was more bingo. But yeah, once I met Cora, but Harmony's been raised playing Lotteria.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had my fair share of playing.
Yeah, for me, it was a very family. We did that all the time. So it's just that was just what we knew, in our gatherings. So. But yeah, so here you have some more inspiration of, Loterias. The Selena, Selena version. And then to the right, I think is more of I don't know if it's more modern Colombian style, indigenous style. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm trying to figure this one out. But if you look at it, yeah, you have El Valiente, La Valiente, which is, they made it into a woman, indigenous woman, so it's kind of a neat So it'd be interesting to learn more about this one, but, and then of course you have Star Wars Lotteria. You can't go wrong with that. And once again, El Gorrito, the hat is, Luke Skywalker's helmet. So that's really cool. El Mundo, the world, is Darth Vader carrying what's it called? The star?
Death Star.
Death Star, so that's kind of so if any Star Wars fans, they'll totally get these. And of course, I put May the Lotteria be with you instead of the horse. And and in my search, I discovered there's also a San Pedro Lotteria. So, and it's sold by a local artist. I was trying to get images of it, but I wasn't able to get him. I contacted him, but he didn't. He wasn't able to get that stuff to me. So, hopefully in the show.
From the chat, people are asking where can they buy Lotteria cards, and will you have sets for sale at the show?
Yeah, definitely we can bring some. Yeah,
we can have some for sale at the show. But you know what? If you go to you can find it in any Mexican store. You go to like Numero Uno probably has
they
them.
have them there. But we'll definitely have some at the show. We got to have some for people to purchase. So
yeah, it'll be the original. There won't be all these really cool ones. Yeah. I'll see if the San Pedro guy comes by to drop some off, because there's like I said, there's an artist from San Pedro that makes a San Pedro Lotteria version, which was really cool.
You remember some of the cards that he did? I can't even imagine.
No, I don't remember.
I know you guys are really busy, but that would be great so that, when we come to the show, we can just buy them there and you guys benefit from it.
No, we'll definitely have some. So we'll make it a point to have some. So now so there's also Lotteria children's book, so I don't know if you're familiar with Little Libros, and they're by Patty Rodriguez and Ariana Stein, and they make a whole series of books that are catered to children to learn so their first words will be Spanish and English. And one of their little books is a Lotteria book, and it's a picture book with words. So so I thought I would include this in here because that's just, once again, this is how popular this is. And so you see, here's the La Rosa, the rose, just so children's first word could be the rose, La Rosa. They can learn these basic terms. El Gato, the rooster. No, you know what? They didn't have them when she was little, which I wish they would have. Yeah, these came out when she was already in high school, so. It was kind of I bought her a set regardless because I might have to buy some. And then I always give these out as gifts to anybody who's having babies. I'm like, okay, I have the perfect gift for them. So I give them the whole set. So el corazón, the heart. So that segues us into our show. So La Lotería de la Representación. As I said earlier, the show dates are September 2nd to 25th, 2021. And so what we decided to do for Hispanic Heritage is re-envision La Loteria to Mexicanos and various underrepresented professions. So this was meant to inspire not only the Mexican community, but all Hispanic, Latinx, Chicano, Chicana, and Afro-Latinx professions that lack diversity. So artists were invited to be a part of the exhibition by creating their own Lotteria card. And, once again, as artists, we have the gift and the power to move, to promote discussion, to provoke thought and question and challenge. So, which is, once again, it's nice. That's the platform that we have. And it's always nice to have those conversations with artists or people that come in.
We were just asking artists when they're designing their card, we're keep in mind, just the images or the words of like empowerment, elevate, change the narrative. We don't want the old image of, the Latina with the big sombrero sitting under the cactus, or, Baracho or, the drunk one or something like that. We want to choose positive images and change that narrative to elevate the culture. So that was some of the theme behind that.
Yeah. So far we have 3 artists. Once again, the deadline is later, so we're probably going to have more art, but I don't like to put the name until we actually have the actual product. So when you come to the show, it'll be more.
There'll be surprises.
Exactly. So we can't give everything away.
Right.
Yeah.
Our artists have plenty of time.
Yeah, they do. So this is some of the stuff that I created. So I decided to go with La Bailarina, and so this is representing the first Mexican American prima ballerina in the U.S. and her name is Evelyn Cisneros. So once again, just trying to bring forth history like that, which I didn't even know. La Doctora. Right, so I used the corazón component and then put a doctora. And then actually in the previous one, I used the corona and put it on the ballerina. So that's how I'm integrating the cards. So the doctora, so she represents the first Hispanic and woman to be honored by the American Heart Association, Dr. Eliana Piña. So she was one of the first, heart doctors. So it was really cool to find out. La Astronauta. So she's representing the first Hispanic woman to go to space. So Dr. Ellen Ochoa. So once again, I did my research to try to find who were these people that I've never heard of. Once again, never was taught in school about this or anything. So it would have been nice to have learned about them and see myself as a Mexican person, as a Mexican child, just the stuff that I could possibly have done.
It was based off what card?
This one's based on the Lotteria. So you see the first. So we had, we have, and then I did the El Sol. So we reinvented the sun. So I did it more as a pre-Columbian design. So representing the indigenous American cultures. So the Sol for me is meant to shine a light on our indigenous history, so that it isn't forgotten. So. And from there we have, Stephanie Bandera, an artist. So she decided to do La Mama. And at first I was like, a mother, but then, then I'm being, I'm minimizing, which I was like, wait, that's not right, Cora. So then, so La Mama, so I loved her write-up. She said, La Mama is a Lotteria card dedicated to mothers, especially mothers of color. So the Mama holds a very special place in our hearts. Many people don't understand this is a full-time and lots of overtime job, to create birth and care for our children. So it's definitely meant to acknowledge the power we hold within to create and sustain life, something that's very ancient and sacred. So, when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true, So wonderful, just a shout out to being a mother, and also don't minimize that. It's definitely a great gift to be that. And then we have La Corona, so by Ray Vasquez.
Yeah, so mine was kind of inspired because the original deck doesn't have the artists or La Artista, and a lot of people they recreate it as an artist, but they don't contribute to an artist. So I thought I went off La Corona, the crown, and I just paid tribute to Jean-Michel Basquiat. He's one of my favorite street kind of artists, and I just thought I wanted to do something in his style and represent the crown, the corona.
Yeah, and Basquiat is of Caribbean heritage, so definitely, so that's one of the things too about Basquiat. So it was really perfect. And also, just once again, when I saw that too, it made me think about how, we as a Hispanic culture, sometimes we minimize our own creativity, so, and there, as a culture, we're so creative and we need to really own that. That's the Lotteria.
That's the tease.
Yeah, that's the tease. So we were asked to curate a show for Hispanic Heritage for collage using the tortilla as a canvas. And for those of you that are not familiar with collage, they're our latest neighbor on Pacific Avenue. It's a big 731 Pacific, really. And it's the coolest place for art and culture. So they're having a lot of music. We recently went to a magic show, which was wonderful. So they're going to be doing a lot of things. So definitely look them up. So the tortilla show, hopefully they're going to have Gustavo Arellano speaking. I don't know when, they're working on it. So that's what we're going to have, the tortilla show. But meanwhile, we're going to actually, in our show in the our Lotteria show as well.
Right. And Gustavo has a new book out, so it might be a book signing also along with the tortilla artwork. So exciting.
No, yes. So in my research for tortilla art, it was really fun. So there were, I found that there were two prominent tortilla artists, Joe Bravo and Rob the Original. And there's also a group called the Great Tortilla Conspiracy, and they're a collective based in San Francisco. So tortilla art is a thing. So I looked up Joe Bravo, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. So a Southern California native of Mexican heritage. I believe he grew up in Calexico, I think. His art has captured and documented a lot of political, racial, and cultural challenges of his lifetime. So he grew up around during that Chicano movement time. So he's known mainly for his tortilla artwork, but he does other works on canvas as well. And his tortilla work, he's exhibited all over the world. And here you have, just Soldadera, you have the Virgen, you have Elvis. That one is from my friend AJ, who loves Elvis on a tortilla. And then there you see Joe Bravo, and then Maria Felix right there, and he has a calavera on the back. So just amazing. Who would have thought, right? All I know is to eat a tortilla, but not to paint it.
And Joe, if you're watching, please come by.
Yeah, we'd love to have you at our gallery. That would be so awesome. Yeah. That's how we do call-outs.
Yeah, right.
So we didn't show the other art because one thing we're like, okay, I'm getting too excited. But some of the artists that submitted to show a little teaser, artist exhibiting, they have David Flores, Tanya Jasmont, and then Kira Lesticao. So David Flores decided to create La Milagrosa in his style. You'll recognize this style in some of the other stuff that we showed here earlier. You have Halo, or Halo, I'm not sure. Halo, by Tanya Jasmont. So here she put 3 tortillas together and created this really cool piece.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And then you have here by Kira Lesticao, we have the Red Death, and then we have Carmen Guerrero and Carlos Villarias. And that one was made as a tribute to the 90th anniversary of the Spanish version of Dracula. So once again, I didn't even know there was a Spanish version of Dracula, which I think that's amazing. So once again, she decided to use the tortilla to do a little horror stuff, which is awesome. I love it. So our gallery is located at 520 West 8th Street, San Pedro, California. And
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
okay. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
I was trying to look at the chats, that's why.
Oh, okay, sorry, Ray threw me off. So so we're right in the corner of 8th and Pacific. So you'll see our blue neon sign in the gallery. And in our show dates and times, of course, Thursday, September 2nd, 6 to 9 during the Art Walk. And then Saturday, September 25th, 5 to 9 p.m. And then our handle is at Gallery Azul. So definitely you can look us up in Instagram. And then we also have a page as well.
Well, thank you. This is really exciting. And then, like I mentioned, we're bringing the guided tour by once we gather in the Artistry. Who was a couple of your art teachers, I thought, and maybe Reno was your art teacher, right?
Yeah, he's also our art teacher as well. So harmonies and mine and Ray's as well. As artists, you always want to learn and grow. That's one thing with the harmony. You always want to learn and grow.
I know we were sharing our screen, so I wasn't able to look at the chats, but if there's any questions for us to answer.
Sorry, there was a question about how long does the tortilla?
Oh, hi, Flora. Good to see you. Flora Barnes. A regular tortilla is going to last a couple of weeks, and so I guess if you prepare it, and you put acrylic on it, it'll last longer. It'll eventually decompose. But I think some of the like Joe Bravo, he's making his own that's going to last a lot longer with preservatives. So if you're really into making the canvas, you can make that tortilla last a long time. But for our show, we're just pulling it right out of the bag. So you know, it'll last a couple of weeks before it starts molding.
Well, not necessarily. If they prep it properly, like a canvas, then it'll be last for
It'll last for a while.
as long as the painting can.
Just don't get it wet.
Boy, yeah.
Don't eat it.
Don't eat it either. Yeah, don't make a taco, a burrito. Don't make a burrito. Yeah. So yes.
I wanted to know what studios I picked. I think I said that in the beginning. I know we're starting at the Artistry, which is not only a wine bar, but it's also an art gallery. And then we may go past Acme 5, but I haven't contacted them to see if their gallery in the basement is open. But we'll go long and go to the Watercolor Society, and then come back and finish up the tour with you guys in Gallery Azul.
Wonderful. So there'll be some trees, and we'll definitely we'll have some Lotteria cards for sale, just the normal Lotteria, so people can play Lotteria. So nice drinking game too. So, so
Talk to Alan.
yeah.
So I want to thank you both, not only for doing this, but for being such great friends and great supporters of the Art District. We're so grateful to have you here and representing the kind of work that you do. And just as individual community members, you really are amazing additions to this neighborhood, and we thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we're so happy to be in San Pedro.
Yeah.
We're happy you're here too. So as we wrap up, so I just want to remind people that we do these in memory of Pat Carroll, who passed away a year ago in June. And she was the one that started the in-person guided art walk tours, and we are continuing that now that we brought the art walk back. And if at all possible, we have a donation page on our site. If you'd like to support the work we do, that would be fabulous. Next slide. And I want to thank Ray and Cora for doing this. You've always been my heroes, and so I really appreciate it. I loved it when you painted the wings in the window during the pandemic so people could come by and take a picture. And our intern, Grace, who's been populating the chat with information about Gallery Azul. We are also assisted by Cheryl Holtzman, who helps with PR, Larson Gormley, who's right here, some of my co-hosts, and the Arts District. Next slide. And just to wrap up, the next tour won't be until October 26th at 5:30, and we are going to be celebrating the 24th anniversary of the San Pedro First Thursday Art Walk, and Andrew Silver is going to be one of our guests, along with Alan Johnson, and he's making faces at me. And so we want to talk about how that got started and why, and also talk about their individual art as well. So I hope you can join us in October, and we thank you for being here tonight.